Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cyber Warrior Wisdom with me, your Cyber Warrior. I'm here telling you guys about all kinds of fun stuff that I've learned over the years of being in IT and cybersecurity. With this one, it's actually kind of fun. We're going to kind of continue on with what we worked on last video, where we set up that TrueNAS server. So now I'm going to show you all how to stand up an application in there. And the application I'm going to go with is a ADGuard Home. And reason we're going to go with ADGuard Home is because I hate ads. Ads are everywhere in today's world, on your Facebook, on anything. Like Facebook's constantly listening to you if you got it on your phone's constantly listening to you, throwing you ads on different stuff, YouTube, so on. They all target you. They all want to get ads specifically to you. And so one way you can kind of help yourself and prevent it at home is by standing up an ad server that blocks everything within your network. So no matter who's using your network, all the ads are blocked. There are lots of local browser ones that you can use. So the one I want to do though is its own kind of server on itself that you can point all your network to, and so anybody on your home, your place at home, will get blocked with ads. And so we will get started with that. And what it's called is ADGuard Home, and it's a free server. There's no cost to it, so it'll be cool to fun and set up on our TrueNAS that we set up, which was also free. So this is stuff that you can utilize if you've got a home PC that you're no longer using. Like I said, when we set up this TrueNAS server, if you need to look at that, go check out that video. And so we'll start by logging into our TrueNAS, which is admin, all lowercase again, and then whatever password you set up for it. So now we'll log in. As long as I didn't fat finger, I think I might have fat fingered, because sometimes I just type too fast. Yeah, it's not logging in, so I messed up. I think I might have just got one extra. Ha, see? I knew I did it right at the end, and I just hit one extra button on there. I've got a sensitive keyboard as well. So what we're going to do is first we're going to start off by creating a data set. We want to basically create our own data sets. As you can see, I got a Minecraft and a Pal World, and then I also created a share to start storing all my YouTube video stuff into. But the Minecraft and the Pal World, I've got a Pal World server and a Minecraft server that, my kids and I can go on and play together with. And so I think it's always cool to do that with your kids. If your kids enjoy video games as well. So hosting your own server, it's safe environment for them to go and interact with other people that only you allow to access it, because you can open these to the outside world, so like their friends could maybe join into it, or like if you've got any friends that you want to play with as well. So that's something cool that you could always play with. Basically the same thing that we're doing today for the ADGuard Home, you would do that with these servers as well. So it kind of goes into it. So we want to keep those separate data sets, and keep the data separate in case we ever need to delete that VM or that application. It's easier to do. So what we're going to want to do is go ahead and click that add data set. And then we're going to say ADGuard home. And we're going to save that, just a generic data set. Leave everything as default. It's going to be working just fine for us. And so now that we've got that set up, we're going to go into the apps here. And as you can see, I've got my Minecraft and my Pal World servers up and running. And what we're going to do now is go to Discover Apps. We're going to go into here, and we're going to start typing ADGuard. And by the time we even finish it, looky, there it is. We've got ADGuard right here. So we're going to go ahead and click that. There's some screenshots you can check out. There's some other stuff that you can do, like a pie hole, which is another one if you want to go play with that. There's all kinds of different, ad blocking things in here that you can use. So we're going to go ahead and click install. And within here, we're going to leave that web port as 30,004. We're just going to leave the default. Everything's default here. We're going to change this install location though. So the storage configuration, we are going to point it at that path that we had created. So we're going to hit next to this mount, next to this data, and there's that ADGuard home that we had created. So we're going to go ahead and select that. And then same thing on the next one. We're going to hit host path, scroll down a little bit so we can dive right into ADGuard home. Everything else we're going to leave as defaults. So just leave those alone. Don't need to change them. They're going to work just fine for us. So we're going to click next. If we need to, we can always come back in here and give it more memory later on. Say we realize we're running out of memory with it, we can go change that for it. And next, we are going to see this ADGuard Home pop up in our applications now, along with my Minecraft and my Pal World. We can see that it's got the deploying here status, and it is going to go through and deploy this little application into its own little environment. And then once we get that running, we are going to see it's a docker.io file again. So it's going to get up and running, and we are going to see it running. Once it's there, we can now go to that 30,004 address. So we're going to want to copy, actually we're not going to want to copy that because we want to be able to type it in. So we're going to open up a new browser window. We're going to go http:// that IP address 192.168.7.160, which is for me again, guys. That's for me. That may not be the same for you. That's just my home network that I got set up. And then, of course, that 30,004. We're going to hit enter. Looky there. It pops right up. Welcome to ADGuard Home. So we're going to get started and set it up. All interfaces, we are going to hit this Eno1. We want to change it to that. The port interface, we're going to type in this 30,004 again. We're just going to keep it as that 30,004. DNS server, listen on all interfaces, that's fine. We'll leave that at default. We're going to click next. We're going to create a username and password. So you can create anything you want here, guys. You can name it Bunny Bunny Foo Foo. It doesn't matter. This is for you to log in with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Cyber Warrior Wisdom and then give it a password. Once we get that password in, we're going to retype that password, so make sure you remember what you're typing. Always make it a passphrase as well. I'm going to say that right off the bat, because that way things are not just a password. We're so used to everybody saying password and everybody thinks of one word and tries to add some zeros and ones. Nowadays, it is better and more complex to do a passphrase as your password. So you can't put spaces in, so you just have to say, like, I like to go fishing. So you would put in, I like to go fishing, no spaces in there, but make it a capital I, and maybe in your like you put a 1 because you need a number in there, and then at the end you can put an exclamation point, a pound, something, whatever you want to do. You can even throw in all kinds of other fun stuff in there. But remember, you want to make it random as possible, but try to make it a passphrase if you like to do it that way. Otherwise, you could be like me and use 1Password, which is a password manager. There's tons of password managers out there. You only have to memorize one password, and that is the one to get into it. And then everything else is randomly generated, and it's best thing ever. You don't know any of your passwords to any of your sites. They're all stored in a database that you just access. 1Password has been great for me. I've utilized them for a while. I do pay for their service. So this is not an advertisement, but it's just something that I personally use that I would recommend. So definitely look at password managers out there if you haven't already. And we're going to click next here. So now we've got the admin web interface, which is, it's saying we got an error because we're already using the 30,004. It's already in use. So, okay, so we want to go to 8080. We'll try 8080 and we'll see what happens there. So, okay, we'll change that port because it won't let us use that one. So then once we get here, it says to configure your devices to point to this. So we're going to hit that open dashboard. We are going to type in the username here, which was our Cyber Warrior Wisdom, whatever you created it as, again, and then that password that you, or I should say passphrase that you created. We're going to log in here. And now that we're logged in, I've already went ahead and changed my network settings here on my local machine, which I'll show you guys in here. If you go into your menu bar down here, you right click, you go to network and internet settings, you click this properties private here because it should be you're on a private network if you travel and stuff, but your main one, like mine, is the enterprise. Big Star Trek geek and Star Wars. I'm not going to debate between them two. They're both great. They both have their own place in the sci-fi. So we're not going to get into that debate. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and say private network, which is my one. And then what you're going to want to do is change your DNS server assignment. So I went ahead and edited this earlier and changed it to that 160, which is our server address. And then I put in a second one, which is 8.8.8.8, which is Google's default DNS server. Anybody can use that. It's pretty good, pretty safe to use. So that's just a backup in case this one ever goes down. We can still get DNS resolutions. What DNS is a domain name service. So whenever you go to, say, youtube.com, it translates that to an IP address. So this IP address here, it's got one that it uses on the internet that you don't know, but that's what that name translates to with a DNS server. So that's the fun part in the internet, is everybody thinks that they just go to a name. No, you're actually going to an IP address that's translated without you even seeing it. And so it'd be a lot harder for all of us to memorize a bunch of IP addresses. They're 4 blocks. So you got your first block, second block, third block, fourth block, and you've got 255 numbers in each block. And that's for all of the internet right now. That's for IPv4 and IPv6. It goes into a whole nother world. That's something we may have to cover in a later episode about networking. But it's something that's cool that not everybody knows about. So good idea to keep for later. But that's for another video. So what I went ahead and did, like I said, is I changed mine already. Went in here and set it to manual. Typed in my server that we have. Again, this is your TrueNAS IP server, or whatever the IP address is of your TrueNAS server. And we put that in, and then I saved it. So now you can see that I've got some query. There's already one DNS query on it. So if I go to query log, we'll go over here. Oh, nothing found. So what's going to happen is this may mess up. Like I said, when we tried to do that port, it didn't like it. So actually, let's go ahead and switch out this port back to that 30,004. And looky there, it works. For whatever reason, I don't know why it's doing that, but it goes ahead and reconfigures back to that default port that we had set up in our TrueNAS. And it's been too long. TrueNAS kicks you out, which is always a good thing to have a timer on stuff so you don't accidentally leave stuff logged in. And what we're going to do here is log back in to our TrueNAS, as long as I typed it right, which it doesn't look like I did. I'm not sure which one I messed up. There we go. So now the apps are up and running still. We can see they're running. And so everything's good. You can see that there was 14 queries on it. And how you can look at that, you can go to this query log. And now we can see all of my different stuff that I've accessed from my machine. This 7.156 is my address from my personal machine here. I already know that. And what we can do, which is actually kind of cool, you can go into filters. We can go into this DNS rewrites. We can add a DNS rewrite. And so we can put, or not a rewrite, sorry. We don't want the rewrite. What we want is the, which one is it? No, it might be DNS rewrites or DNS settings. So here, if you go into settings in your DNS settings, this is the DNS server we're using. There are more to use, and there are stuff you can go look at to see which ones you would prefer in order to use. Because if you click here, it gives you a list of servers that you can use. So these are the default ones. Here's family protection ones that you can use. And you can click add to ADGuard, but this is for like if you've got the browser extension, and if you're using their ADGuard VPN, which again, we're not doing. What we can do with this is set this up and give us a good DNS provider. And I will show you the one that I actually use on my network. Like I said, this is a separate one I'm setting up. So I have another one that I'm actually running, and I can bring that up for you guys to show you what my DNS queries are. Actually, I'm using the block list more than I'm using the queries. So in my personal one, I've got C7218, which is my DNS one. So if we go into settings and we go into DNS servers, I've got that default quad 9, but under filters, my DNS block list is where I added some. So I've got this threat intelligence feeds, ultimate block list, and Sprouts anti-malware are the 3 that I'm using, and I will show you guys how to do that on this one here. I just wanted to show you that. That's the ones that I personally use, and so you can mess around with the filters, see which ones you like, which ones you don't like. And what it is so client settings is what I was thinking of earlier. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your settings and into client settings. And in here, you can see like the 756 is me. I can click add client, enter client name. So we can say this is Cyber Warrior PC because this is my PC. So I want to be able to tag it so I know. Okay, so how do I identify it? By my IP address. The 192.168.7.156 is my IP address. I can say use the global settings. I can say don't block me at all. So if you're maybe the parent, you don't want to block your own stuff on the family settings, but you want to use a different one, you can use a different one. But if you got kids that you want to block a lot better, then you can always make it more stringent. So now I can see this Cyber Warrior. So now if we go into this query log, you can see Cyber Warrior PC. I can actually filter on that now. So that's what's really cool. Cyber Warrior PC, I can click enter, and now it's just going to show me just Cyber Warrior PC, which of course is the only thing that's in here, but you can filter on those individually that way, which is really cool. You can always refresh your log by hitting that refresh button there. Okay, now let's get into the meats and potatoes of this, which is the filters, guys. So what we're going to do is in this DNS block list, there's the default ADGuard DNS filter, but we can click add block list. Choose from a list, or you can create a custom list. There are custom lists out there that you can go download and put in yourself if you go out and just do a Google search. But we are going to focus mainly on this block list in here. Like I said, I'm using these Hagazi's Pro block list, Pro plus plus block list, and there's like some information on here. If you click the info, you can go in and look at this, see what it's blocking, and so on. Just see the different things. So ultimate block list, so we can click that one. I want to add it. Dandelion Sprout anti-push. There's like malware. There's anti-piracy block list, gambling block list, no Google. But again, you can go look at these. There's information on each of these individually that ADGuard puts in. You can even block regional, so you can block China, Hungary, Iran, Israel, Korea, Lithuania. Okay, Lithuania. So Macedonia. There's all kinds out there, guys, that you can block. Pick the ones you want to check out. Check it out and see what happens. You know, if it's too much for you, you can always remove them and go with a different one. So we're going to go ahead and add the ultimate block list. I'm going to click save here. And what it's going to do is add that block list and automatically check it. So now it's blocking anything with this, with these rules in it. It's got 195,000 rules in this one block list, which is actually kind of cool. But let's say you come across something that you don't want to block, that it's blocking a legitimate site. How do we do that? Well, in our query log here, we can see this telemetry in battle.net. Battle.net, if you didn't know, is Blizzard, BattleNet that they use to go to a lot of their network stuff for games like World of Warcraft or Diablo 4 or their launcher. A lot of that cool stuff. Why it's getting blocked, not sure. It's just we can see that it's blocked by ADGuard DNS filter, but we don't want that to block. How do we fix it? Well, we click the 3 dots over here on the right, guys, and then we're going to go ahead and unblock this permanently for everyone. We can unblock for this client only. So if you come across something that's blocked, but you only want it blocked for you, and maybe you still want it blocked for your kids, you can unblock for this client only. So if I click unblock, it's going to create an unblock rule for everyone. So I click unblock. Now it won't be blocked anymore, but I want to go back and remove it later. How do we do that? Well, we go back into this blocked services, actually not blocked services, custom filtering rules. The custom filtering rules is where we added it. You can see the rules here. So if you wanted to go in and maybe put in your own exception, you could. So you're going to do @ and then pipe, which is that pipe key, which is right above the enter key, usually on most keyboards. So you hit shift and that, which gives you that pipe. So shift the key above, which is your backslash by default, and you have to shift to get the pipe. And so we would be able to put add oop, let's go down, add delete that, okay, pipe, and then we can put in google.com in case it was maybe being blocked for whatever reason. Caret up, we can say it's an important one. And so it's got examples down here. So this is how you would block it without the add unblocks it, just pipe blocks it. So it blocks access to stuff. So if you want to maybe block access to, let's say guns.com, I don't know why you'd ever block that, but you could. I'm a First Amendment person, so, or Second Amendment rather, so I would rather not do this, but just to show you all how to do it, you would do pipeguns.com, and then up arrow is what it shows for our stuff, and that is what happens. So that would basically make it to where that would be blocked if we tried to go to guns.com. Any number of things you can do, guys. There is a regex access in here too if you want to learn regex, which is like a little bit of a little programming language, which is always cool to do. But say you wanted to remove this and block it again, we would just take that out, click apply, and look, we've got it done there. So now you can also go into blocked services. So we can go in, block Activision Blizzard, we can block Amazon Streaming, Battle.net, Betway. Look, they've got all kinds of stuff in here, guys, that we can block if we wanted to. AliExpress, there's Dropbox if you don't want your kids maybe using Dropbox if they are. eBay, if you want to block them from using eBay. There is a number of stuff in here that we can block. Mail.ru, which is like a Russian mailing site, we can block that. All you would do is just hit the slide here. We can go WeChat, let's block that. Wargaming, I don't even know what that is, so let's block it. You can block X if you want. Tinder, if you don't want anybody using Tinder dating sites on your home network. Again, this is all going to be within your network. You would hit save at the end of that. Now these ones that we checked are blocking. And the way that you would do that for your network, because you would have to specifically have every computer go to this specific IP address to, like I said, when I changed my DNS. But you can go at your router access level if you've got a Eero system or a home Wi-Fi mesh system like I do. You would log into that and put that as your DNS server and reboot your routers. And so then it would point all your traffic that's using DNS, because it's usually going to your router, and your router forwards it on to look for DNS. It would now go to the ADGuard Home server. So now it would block all the ads and stuff. So all the little ads that pop up in your games on your phone, those all get blocked now. I don't get any ads on my phone anymore when I'm on my home network, which is really cool, which is one of the things I like. The thing about it is you'd have to change your home router, so you'd have to be able to log into it and change that if you know how. Each router's different. I can't go into how to do it. For me, it's on my phone, which is through Eero, which is basically an Amazon one that you can use, and it's all controlled through an app through your phone. There's Orbi, there's Google's got their own home mesh system now as well that you can use. So there's a bunch of different mesh systems out there where you have a bunch of like I've got three what's called pucks around my house that all connect together in order to give me Wi-Fi coverage throughout my whole house. And I would have to log into that, change that DNS setting in the network settings to point to my ADGuard home server. So I'd put in that 192.168.7.160 for my DNS server settings. It already knows it's going to use port 53, which is your default port for DNS. So that's then pointing to this ADGuard server now, and it's going to block all the ads that it needs to block. And that is how we set up ADGuard Home, guys. It's really simple. So now we can go into dashboard and see if we're blocking stuff, blocked by filters, DNS queries. You can see what our top queried domains are. There's a host of information we can get in here and see that top client, which is of course only me. I'm the only one pointing to this at the moment. And it'll go through. I can show you guys again on my home one. Once I pull it up here, let me pull over my home one that I use. And so if I go into my dashboard, I've got 167,000 DNS queries, 63,000 blocked by filters. I've got my alien PC. I've got my daughter's laptop, my gaming computer. I've got other IP addresses I haven't identified yet, but they're, some of the most requested stuff that's reaching out. So I got to figure out what that is. Um, and then looking at this, I got my work laptop, I've got my phone, there's our Peloton, we've got a Fire TV. See, I've got everything kind of labeled in here, and I can filter on those names now. So in here, I can see what my top queried domain names are, top block domains. So there's a lot of data.microsoft stuff in here. We've got a Firebat, Prime Video. So that's an ad that Prime Video does. Mobile Collector, Facebook again. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can block, guys, with this. That I use this already in my home. It's something that I use and recommend all the time. Say you're running into some issues though, and you are not sure what's being blocked and you can't quite figure it out. You can disable the protection for 30 seconds, for a minute, for 10 minutes, an hour, or until tomorrow, and give you time to troubleshoot and figure out what's going on if you want. That's it, guys. That's ADGuard Home. That's really cool, isn't it? I think it's one of the coolest things that I had found and used. And thanks to another YouTuber, Network Chuck, that's where I found it from. So if you guys want to check out him, go check out Network Chuck. Great guy. Watched a lot of his content. He's a really cool guy. Been in the field a while too. So definitely someone I aspire to be. So let's see what we can do here in the future, guys. With all kinds of different videos and content that I'm coming up with. If you guys know something that you want me to cover, go ahead and put it in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell when you want to be notified, guys. Until next time, Cyber Warrior Wisdom, I'm out.